Ever since I could pick up a crayon, I wanted to be an artist. When I started sculpting in the beach in Boca Raton and then came back here and tried to teach myself how to do clay and how to sculpt, I knew clay was it. My name is Bridgette Mongeon and I am a sculptor and author. Well, I have so many different aspects of my art. I have always liked to draw the face, the human form. I think people are great. I've always said that I can see the world in the face of the elderly and the heavens in the face of a child. When I talk about the people that I have sculpted in the past that are deceased, it's a very emotional moment. Some parents want to have it done, some parents could never see it being done with their child. And so when the parents have come to terms with that and they're ready to go, I help parents through the grieving process. I help them celebrate the life of their child. What inspires me is that collaboration between the client and myself. B.B. King was an important element in my life, and that sculpture, just being able to create it, having the interaction with the man. He was just a loving, and I just had this strange feeling when I was sculpting him that he knew what it was going to mean to me. I think the newsboy is another favorite. I think because he is interactive, because he's holding that newspaper and he's shouting, and probably because I'm a writer. I love to sculpt interactive sculpture like this. This Alice in Wonderland piece is the epitome of being interactive. Jerry Rubenstein commissioned me to sculpt his mom for the Evelyn Rubenstein Jewish Community Center. And once that was done, he said, I'd like another sculpture of my mom for the park. And then he came and he brought me some photographs of the Alice in Wonderland in New York. I thought, this is interesting. So it kind of morphed from there, and I did not know that it was in the public domain. I certainly didn't know the story was 150 years old last year, and that's where the 150 hidden items came in. You'll be able to come to the park and sit at this magnificent table and have tea with the Mad Hatter, Alice, the March Hare, and the Dormouse. Some of the biggest challenges when creating my art right now is actually the digital technology and the traditional. I started out sculpting traditionally, which is taking clay and moving it around. But one of the things that happens is that our art actually ends up injuring our bodies. When I started to have trouble with my hand, and someone had suggested, try digital. In the computer, it takes nothing to hold a stylus, and I can move a stylus around much easier. I can flip a sculpture much easier in the computer, where I would have to be an acrobat to do some of the things a lot of times to be able to sculpt. So if I can do some of the processes digitally in the computer, then I'm saving myself, my body, and a lot of time. The process, it's much bigger and much more intricate than it would be if I were just sculpting traditionally. The next process is for me to start to gather the reference. From there, I sculpt small maquettes, small clay maquettes. And those maquettes are then scanned upstairs with a 3D scanner. And then the 3D scanner has a digital model, and that is sent off to Synapsys in Oklahoma. That's my vendor who does the CNC milling. It stands for Computer Numerically Controlled Milling. And then we have all these foam pieces that come back here, and we have to put them together. We glue all the foam pieces together, and from there we go to putting clay and wax on them. Now we're going to cut them up in many, many pieces and make rubber molds with them. The rubber molds are sent to a foundry in Santa Fe. So they will paint the molds with wax. It's also referred to as the lost wax method of bronze casting. So they have to match all of my texture. And I'll spend probably a month in the foundry going through every piece and doing circles and making sure that all the metal is perfect. I think my heart and soul is in all my pieces. For me, it is the emotional attachment. It is the element of excitement, and with each piece, if it's the deceased loved one, there's that connection and that passion to that loved one. If it's a portrait of somebody, then hopefully I've sparked an interest. It's going to spark an interaction both physically, because I do like to have the sculptures interact physically, but also intellectually. You'll ask more questions, you'll probe further, you'll go deeper into the rabbit hole.